Sports Stampede.
Little bass guitar for you.
Little bass, I like that. Little bass underneath some of the pleasurable things I'm going to be talking about.
The Denver natives on
He's
here.
Mark Knudson. I'm Michael Klahr.
And this is Earth, Wind & Fire, Denver natives.
Yeah, East High School. Right?
Yep.
All right. And now, a man who always delivers for us, we go to Rockin Company's Rockin CU, brought to you by the family-owned operation in Colorado. 5 decades, 2 generations, historic, modern masons and general contractors putting up a building right now in Brayton. Build it with rock, build it with rockandco.com. Look at their work there. And we welcome in the publisher of buffstampede.com, Adam Munsterteiger. And I won't jinx the big news at CU this week by calling them quarterback U. You've warned me.
Yeah.
Well, let's wait till he gets on campus this time, right?
I can jinx him then? Is that what you're saying?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm just a lucky charm.
No one's ever called you that.
Now, actually, CU did quite well when back in the late 80s and early 90s when I was talking about them quite a bit before Adam's era here in Colorado.
So now you're blaming Adam for being the bad luck. Okay,
No. Although, Adam, you were here for some success. Weren't you here at the end of Barnett's era?
Not a whole lot. I kind of took over in 2003, and it wasn't long after that.
Okay, then we do know who the jinx is.
You guys have exposed me.
Uh-oh.
It ain't me, babe. So Davis Webb comes in. This is a Darren Chiaverini get, the former star receiver, now co-offensive coordinator. They beat out Auburn for Davis Webb. We want to hear about what you think was involved in that. And how big a recruit is this for Colorado? What kind of impact do you anticipate?
Davis Webb actually said there were multiple SEC schools, multiple Pac-12 schools, and one Big Ten school that reached out to him after he announced that he was going to be transferring from Texas Tech. And a lot of it came down to his history with Darren Chiaverini and really believing that if he came to Colorado, he would get a fair shake at it, and said the right things. He said, hey, I'm not looking for them to hand me the keys to the castle. I'm looking for an opportunity to compete. And there were some other schools that obviously had better records than Colorado that he saw as good schools, good football programs, but he wasn't 100% convinced that if he went there, he was going to get a fair shake, and he's only got one more year of eligibility. And there's been no promises made to Davis Webb. I mean, we don't know how Cepha Lufau is going to recover from this foot injury. He's obviously had success at times in the past. So, but I would think if you're in Vegas making odds for who's going to be the Buffalo starting quarterback when the season begins, I would think that Davis Webb would be your favorite there without question.
You know, both Lufau and Webb will miss spring practice, so there'll be no foot up there for Webb, certainly, and Lufau will be a little bit rusty, I suppose, when he comes back, hopefully totally healthy. And but Lufau has a redshirt year left.
Yeah, I was going to ask that, too. Is there a possibility that he sits out the year?
I think that's going to come down to how his foot recovers, how that quarterback competition shakes out, and then what Cepho, does he feel like he wants to go into the season potentially if Davis Webb beats him out as a backup, or does he want to sit out? I think it's impossible to answer that question right now, but that is certainly a scenario that could play out.
And there are players waiting in the wings, like Apse, who took terrific strides forward and passed accurately in some cameo performances last year, and a guy you've always been high on, Montez, the redshirt freshman who didn't play this last year. Let's look at the big picture. Let's look at recruiting. Signing day is coming up this coming week. Colorado, where do they stand? Mark reported earlier during the last segment that Rivals rates Colorado State at 72 in the nation, Colorado only at 87.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard for Colorado to rise up because the way the recruiting rankings are planned out is that you basically get points, at least on Rivals, you get points for commitments all the way up to your 20th commitment. Colorado is going to get maybe close to that 20 mark, but they're not going to hit that mark, so they're going to be kind of penalized in terms of signing a smaller class. And then they do have quite a few two-star recruits on their commitment list. All their offensive linemen are two-star recruits, so that kind of brings them down a little bit. They do have a chance to finish with some blue chippers. They had Bo Bicheret, a former Stanford commit, an athlete prospect that could play running back or linebacker in college, on campus the previous 2 days. He's going to decide between Colorado and Arizona State most likely. Jawan Winfrey, a four-star receiver that's currently verbally committed to Pittsburgh. I'm told Colorado still feels good about their chances of potentially signing him. And then Keanu Saliapaga, defensive end prospect, a high 3-star recruit that was formerly committed to USC that is going to decide between the Buffs and BYU. So they have a chance to, if they can get 2 or 3 of those guys to jump up a little bit. Puki Maka, another high 3-star recruit they're in on. So I don't expect them to finish quite that low, but they're not going to jump, again, up really high.
I gotcha. So you don't expect any big surprises, but I know that they're competing for guys who say they're going to announce on signing day, right?
Well, I would say there is a chance for big surprises. I think Jawan Winfrey, a 4-star recruit, and Bisharad and Saliapaga, all these guys I think are going to kind of catch the eyes of some people if they do end up committing to Colorado. Lorenzo Burns is one Colorado target that has said he will definitely announce on signing day between Colorado and Arizona. I expect him to most likely pick the Wildcats.
Oh, okay. Well, that's disappointing. Yeah, I know Burns was top of your website. And tell people a little bit about BuffStampede.com. I read it every week.
Well, we cover the football and basketball programs just like any beat writer. And then, of course, we try to feed your appetite for all the latest recruiting news. Obviously, news can change very, very fast, and we try to keep you up to date on all of that.
And no one does it better than BuffStampede.com, part of the Rivals Network. Hoops, big game coming up Sunday. I've been waiting for this game since last year, really. Cal, with the incredible signing class, the great freshmen, play a team that I thought, at least till they lost to injury, their senior point guard leader, Ty Wallace, the most talented team in the Pac-12. I think they're right up there anyway. We'll see how they do. Really an opposite team from Colorado. All the experience on the perimeter, but huge inside, but they're young inside. This is an intriguing matchup and a major game for Colorado, who sits just one game out of first place in the Pac-12.
I told you, Michael, last Saturday that with Tyrone Wallace being out for an extended period of time, I really expected Cal to come down to earth quite a bit. I felt like he was kind of the straw that stirred the drink there at Cal. Of course, later that day they made that comment by me look bad by beating Arizona. But then they go on the road, they lose at Utah. I think this is obviously a much more beatable Cal team than the team they faced not too long ago early on to open up conference play. I feel like there's not a lot separating a lot of these Pac-12 teams, and I think that injury to Tyrone Wallace is going to be something that kind of separates them in a negative way from the rest of the Pac here in the coming weeks. I really think that injury is going to be something that Cal fans look back on at the end of the season and see as a turning point for a negative reason in terms of their season. Kind of reminds me a couple of years ago with Spencer Dinwiddie going down with CU.
Yeah, very interesting, and I am a big Ty Wallace fan, even though they have terrific guards around him and very experienced guards. Look at this matchup. The two young recruits, the freshmen, people want to watch this game on Sunday at 3:00, and it's here. You can attend it. Chance to see big time.
Will you be there? Or are you
basketball.
busy packing for
I will
Panama?
be there.
All right.
So I'm not missing this game. One of the parameters of my trip was not to miss the Cal game.
But the Super Bowl's okay.
And that was,
but
of course,
that
before Ty Wallace got hurt. But to see Jaylen Brown and Ivan Rabb, who are likely lottery picks in the upcoming draft, guys who play forward in Brown's case and an inside kind of power forward center type with Rabb, going up against the experienced inside guys for Colorado. This is going to be a great matchup. You look at Scott. I've never considered Scott to be much of an NBA prospect since he hasn't really enhanced his offensive game. He showed good touch young, but doesn't score much. But the way he held Jacob Poeltl and totally shut down a 7-foot lottery pick out of Utah, this is going to be a terrific matchup.
Yeah, and I think Josh Scott talked about him against Jacob Poeltl and the fact that he went one-on-one in that game, and so kind of a luxury that Colorado has, against those Cal bigs is the fact that they do have a strong front court and don't necessarily have to double team the way that other teams often have to do with Josh Scott. So I kind of obviously there's the experience advantage that Colorado has in the post as well with Josh Scott and Wesley Gordon over those guys. So I think Colorado matches up as well as any team against those freshman bigs.
Thank you, Adam. Adam Munsterteiger, publisher, Buff Stampede. Good luck to the Buffs on signing day.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
That is Rockin Company's Rockin CU, family-owned and operated in Colorado. 5 decades, 2 generations. Historic modern masons and general contractors. Build it with rock. Build it with Rockin Company. Look at their work, rockinco.com.